Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome to my review for episode 6 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Let's dive straight into this one because the title's quite long. Okay, so episode 6 with the title Lift Us Up Where Suffering Cannot Reach. Bit of a mouthful for a title there, but regardless, where we go, we're with it. So this episode is brought to us directed by Andy Armaganian and written by Robin Wasserman and Bill Wolkoff. Now, this episode here, and before I begin, I will say, spoiler warning, you've had your chance, jump out if you don't want to get spoiled. Come back after you've watched the episode. And then let me know your views on the episode down below because I like having a nice discussion about these things. Subscribe. Anyway, yeah, so this episode here, it revolves around the story of... let's just jump into the story, shall we? Christ. I'm sort of jumping mid-range there. So the story, we start off with the Enterprise on this cartography mission to this this system where there's this planet that Pike has been before and got into a bit of trouble, as in, like, you know, almost lost his life sort of a thing. As soon as they get there, they come to find that there's these two spaceships, one that they have to rescue and one that starts turning on the Enterprise and firing at it, even though its weapons are somewhat ineffective against the Enterprise. They shoot at this first ship. The first ship crash lands on this planet. And they beam the survivors aboard, or the people aboard, from this other ship. 3 individuals. A woman that Captain Pike has a history with. A father and a son, but the son is going to be the first servant of this planet, a sort of a leader figure, a figure to be looked up to, and all this sort of a thing. And they need to get him to this ascension ceremony and all this sort of stuff. We have your other plots going on at the same time. Obviously, you've got, well, not obviously unless you've seen it, you've got Uhura with Sung, Khan. And Uhura's on this sort of training for security training. So you got both of them playing off of one another throughout the episode. It does look like it's going to be a Doctor-centric episode, although it isn't, but the Doctor does play a big part, and the stuff with his daughter is being held in the transport buffer for medical reasons. And it seems to be that this young boy and the father possibly have the technology or something that could help her out. So that's great. So the Doctor does get something to do. He's a bit of one of the most undeveloped characters on the series thus far. So anyway, the Enterprise crew, Uhura and Singh, they go down to the ship that's crashed to do a bit of an investigation into what's gone on, while Pike indulges in his affair with this woman that he knows and that he fancied the last time he met her, all this sort of stuff. They're keeping the child and the father on board the ship for safety and this sort of thing until the ascension ceremony, because it turns out that there is this other planet nearby with this other race on that are attempting to possibly kidnap the child for monetary reasons and this sort of a thing. But as it comes to pass, we find out that the ascension ceremony is literally that, an ascension, in the sense that it's a sort of alien version of a human sacrifice more than anything, in that they plug these children into this machine to keep their city alive, because the city itself, or the world itself, is a sort of volcanic acidity world on its surface, but you've got all these cities that are floating above in the sky, and that looks very good. It leads to some interesting visuals, an interesting idea for a planet. Obviously, this, when it comes to past what's going on, you know, you realise that these people aren't as I shouldn't say nice, because it's got that moral dilemma. The episode digs into this moral dilemma. They need to do this because they believe that if they don't do it, their planet will come to an end and this sort of a thing. So you're fighting that side of it, and that brings up some interesting questions within the context of the episode. You know, overall, I don't know. For the most part, I feel this is probably the weakest episode I've seen thus far. Although not bad. I'm not saying that is a negative. I mean, it's a negative in that sense, but it's still a very strong episode, and strong when compared to other series of Star Trek and the stories that they've been giving you. The end and the reveal is far more interesting than the lead up to it, I will say. You got a fantastic, stellar performance by Anson Mount again as Captain Pike. You know, he's top notch. I can't knock him in this role. I think he's fantastic, very likable, very watchable. It brings a certain charm to the character. Just he oozes this appeal on screen that's just fantastic, and his hair is just amazing. You know, don't know what to say about that. But yeah, so. You know, at one point during this episode, about 10 minutes before we have an appearance, I asked, well, what's happened to Kirk? Now, Kirk's brother's on board, and funnily enough, he gets one scene. So he's still being kept about, alive, so to speak. The child, somewhat annoying, I will say that. But overall, I think it was quite a thought-provoking episode. I did like the moral dilemma side of it, like what I said, the human sacrifice side of it, and the way it's viewed from one person's, which is our Federation standpoint, which I would agree with, but to the planet and what they've been doing over the centuries, where they've been putting child after child into this machine to keep the planet essentially alive, but they're unsure of the reasons why. Now, I know a lot of people have issue with, or take issue with, the fact that this the series is meant to be standalone, but there is a lot of DNA from one episode into another. There are plot threads that go over. Now, I like that. I do like that. I've got no issue with that. Yes, the primary stories are pretty much standalone, but there are these story arcs for the characters that flow through each episode. And that's the strongest way to do a series. It really is. You know, you do have that continuity of character. And that in itself is fantastic. I don't know if we ever got an answer. I may have been distracted during this point as to why these three important key characters, the boy who's being ascended, were up on this ship in the first place. That's the only question I really come away with from this episode. Was that answered? If it was, let me know in the comments down below. I can't remember whether that was mentioned or not, but I was distracted by my phone at one point. It's feasible, that's it. But that bit don't make too much sense to me unless you can enlighten me on the reasons why. Anyway, so that's it. That's my review for this episode. 4 more episodes left for the series. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 4. I had to count then. It's early in the morning for me. But that's it. This is AJ. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Come and join the channel. That'll do the channel wonders. Help me grow. In that sense, I want nothing from you but time. That's it, a little bit of time to watch the episode, and then maybe jump into the comments. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the episode, your thoughts on the series as a whole, whether you like it, whether you hate it. Either way, I'm happy to have them comments. I like to see other people's thoughts on it, whether they differ from mine or not. It's not one of those situations where I'm like, you don't like it, so I'm going to fight you, like well, a lot of people seem to do. I don't get that, but there you go. But you know, I like a different of opinion, and maybe sometimes it does open my eyes to something in a bit different. Am I seeing it, you know, in a different way than you? Let me know, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Well, I should see you next week. There's no hopefully about it, but I'll see you later. All take care and goodbye.